What's up, suckers? Tonight, I give you all the dirty secrets about how to do 2x4 farming so that you too may farm, just like me. I'm at about 500,000 gold and on my way to my first million. And I think it's time that we talk about 2x4 farming, what it is, how to do it. So, what is 2x4 farming? 2x4 farming is farming with two groups of 4 toons. Why would you do that? Well, there's an idiosyncrasy in the game World of Warcraft where if you tap a mob, that means if you hit a mob first and you don't have 5 characters in your group, that mob is tappable by one more group. Therefore, if you have 2 groups of 4, both groups can tap that mob. And this means that if you're farming at a hyperspawn, I'll explain what a hyperspawn is in a second, that both groups can loot every mob. This obviously doubles the amount of loot you get in the same amount of time that you spend farming. It doesn't work for 3x4, and it's not as efficient for 2x3 or 2x, I guess you wouldn't do 2x2, but 2x3 is not as efficient, but could also theoretically work. Now, one reason 2x4 is so popular is because people can get together in groups and do it together and make 2 groups of 4 and have, let's say, an accelerated chance at a mount drop. I mean, I get a mount every hour or so from this. Can't sell them because they're so common, but you know, when I set my mind to it, I will sell them. Anyhow, that's the idea of 2x4 farming. But 2x4 farming is inherently linked to hyperspawns. Hyperspawns are elements of the World of Warcraft. They are areas, small areas, where there are groups of mobs that respawn instantly when you kill every member of the group. That's a hyperspawn. And so, if you can find one of these places, you can stand in place, kill every member of the linked group, and immediately get a new group of mobs that you can kill again and get more loot. Now, there are a lot of hyperspawns in World of Warcraft. Which one should I choose, Furyswipes? I don't know. I mean, I don't know most of them, okay? But I was given one. I know a few others now, but I was given one, and it's this one here in the Heart of Darkness, to the left of the triangle. This one is interesting because it is alliance only. That means the Horde can't come here. That cuts the number of farmers in half. And B, if you leveled through here in your war campaign and you did the quests, you can't do it anymore. It disappears. So you have to know to stop leveling and not do the quests here in order to use this farm spot. Now, apparently a lot of people know about this farm spot because it's almost always occupied by at least one group. But the great thing about hyperspawn farming is this. If you can lay a tap down on these mobs, you kill so fast with multiple groups that the hyperspawn spawns faster, and you don't really lose half the loot when you're sharing with another group because you've accelerated the amount you're killing. And so it's perfectly viable to stand in, neck deep in farmers and just farm away. And as you can see, your bags fill up, and they fill up quite rapidly. Now there's one more benefit of this particular type of hyperspawn. The mobs drop cloth. You can turn cloth into money at about the rate of 2 gold per cloth, simply by using tailoring. Now, if you get to level 150 tailoring and you're level 120, you can unlock synchronous thread. I called it synchro mesh in my last video. Synchronous thread. And synchronous thread gives you a buff that allows you to collect 70% more cloth, about 40% more the expensive green cloth. I don't have it yet. I've got a few steps left in the quest to get it, but I'm close, and I could go get it. However, I'm being a bit lazy right now. Okay, so now you've got your 8 boxes. I assume you're multi-boxing here. You don't have to multi-box. You can join in the custom looking for raid finder. You can join 2x4 groups and farm just like this. So let's say you've got your you've got your 8 tunes. How do you set them up so that you are 2x4 farming? Well, there's a lot to it, and I'm going to try and keep it as simple as possible, so that you too can give this a shot if you want. Now, before I go into it, I do want to talk a little bit about the benefits of Hyperspawn, of 2x4 farming. The main benefit that you should consider is that you don't have to pay for WoW anymore. You can make enough money in a short amount of time doing this to pay for your accounts every month by trading gold for tokens. And of course, you can use Hyperspawn farming to just build up large amounts of gold in order to get crap in the game. I personally am trying to get the Brutosaur before pre-patch eliminates it. Now, I've done the math, and I don't think I'm going to. So unless they delay pre-patch, I'm probably going to get screwed. So, okay. So let's get right into it. How do you set up your groups? Well, first of all, you need to do stand-in-place hyperspawn 2x4 farming like I'm doing right now. You really do need druids. You need moonkins. Why do you need moonkins? Why can't you just use anything? Well, moonkins have an AoE that goes the longest distance of any class. Nobody beats their AoE, their improved starfall. And so you need to be constantly dropping this improved starfall in order to tap mobs. As you can see, if you look at my window, many mobs here are gray to me. That means my competitors' 2 groups both tap them at the same time. And if his 2 groups tap a mob, then I can't tap a mob. So there's a lot of strategy to the way you configure and set up your druids. If you have all druids, no problem. You just group up your druids, spread them out maybe a little bit, circle the wagons, and just start dropping Starfire. But if you're like me and you have 2 groups, one of which had no druids at all in it, well, then you've got to mix and match. I put 2 druids in each group so that I get a chance to Starfall both groups. Now, if you have hunters kind of, hunters kind of have an edge. They have a very long range, they shoot very fast, and you can, using hunters, actually beat the Moonkin farming groups. I have 1 hunter, so that gives me an edge on one side of this hyperspawn. So that brings me into, okay, you've got Moonkins, you've got classes that can farm. How do you spec them, and what do you do to farm? How do you farm with one button and watch Grey's Anatomy at the same time? Well, I am farming with one button. I just want you to see that. All I'm doing is pressing my one button. That is it. Now, there are times when, because of the way WoW works, or you know, the problems with HotKeyNet, which is my key sending software. HotKeyNet is probably the oldest multiboxing software out there. Sometimes my guys, they stop sending keys, they stop reacting. I've noticed this a lot lately with the latest patch of WoW. Like this guy right here, an item, he's not doing anything. And so I periodically have to close his window and restart it to make him start farming again. So I'm going to do that right now. One of the problems that you encounter with this farming technique is that there is actually a lot of micromanaging that you wind up having to do. You have to watch your tunes like a hawk, because they will just kind of stop working. And I really don't understand why yet. But it did only start happening, I believe, in a recent patch. So I'm watching the situation very carefully, trying to figure out, you know, what I want to do about it. Okay, so how do you farm? How do you click that one button all the time and farm up a storm? Well, let me give you an example of the Druid macro. I use GSE, like a lot of people do, to run macros that are much more complicated than simple macros. So my macro looks like this. Every click, it will try one of these lines in the macro. That's how it works. So the first click, it will go through this sequence and try Starfall. The second click, it will try Moonfire. The third click, it will go through a cast sequence of Moonfire, Sunfire, Lunar Strike, Lunar Strike. You know what? I don't want this. I don't want this first Moonfire, Sunfire. I'm just going to put Sunfire at the end. Actually, I've been changing that lately. Sunfire. Lunar Strike, Solar Wrath. Then it'll try Starfall again. Then it'll try Fury of Elune. Then it will try then it will cast Wild Growth on myself, just for healing's sake. Then it will cast Starfall, and at every key release, it will try to cast Starfall, and then it will cast something called Lootarang. Lootarang is an engineering toy you can get. You only need one engineering to use it, and every time you cast it, it loots all of the bodies around you, and that's how you watch Grey's Anatomy while tapping the one key. That is the Druid. And my bags are filling fairly quickly here. So this guy, one of the other things I have in my macro is when I hit Alt-1 instead of 1, I do my yak and I target my cousin slow hands on my yak, and then I hit the F key to interact with him and sell everything. And in fact, I'm gonna make everybody target their cousin slow hands, and everybody's gonna sell everything in their bag. Even if they don't happen to get up on their yak because they were in combat, they'll still try to target cousin slow hands. So, but the one problem with that is now everybody's kind of moved to the yak and are now not facing the right direction. So you got to put them back. Like this Moonkin is not facing the right direction again. So I'm going to move him back. You always want to kind of edge the other farmer. You don't want the other farmer to have any more range or distance than you do. So get your guy over on the edge of the other farmers and make sure that you are trying to tap these mobs before he is. Unfortunately, you can only take that so far because everybody has to remain fairly tightly grouped so that they are able to loot everybody else's mob. If they're not able to loot everybody else's mob, you are definitely hamstringing your progress. And so I quickly reposition my guys. I use, for example, my shaman to my shaman only points uphill. The shaman cannot tap very well. He only points uphill and gets a few of the mobs from the uphill side. The monk is absolutely atrocious. I put the monk into Brewmaster, make him drop his statue, and basically use him to taunt off of other toons who might be getting hammered and keep the dead bodies in the middle. He doesn't really do much more than that except collect loot. And is he collecting loot? Yes, he is. Always watch to make sure your looterang keeps popping. The 1 keys are a-flying, and the looterangs are popping. But what about this guy? Is he doing anything? Yes, he is. He just looted, so he's in good shape. My hunter is doing great. He's looting. My mage is basically shooting straight into the uphill hut. That's what my mage does. And my mage macro looks like this. Arcane Farm. All he does is Looterang, Supernova, Nether Tempest, Arcane Orb, Arcane Barrage, and Looterang again. He also channels Prismatic Barrier, and that's pretty much it. It's pretty simple. He can probably do better. What does my hunter do? Beast Mastery Farm. Looterang, Barb Shot, Kill Command, Revive Pet, Multi-Shot, Aspect of the Wild, Multi-Shot, Bestial Wrath, and Kill Command on the pre-macro. And notice, everybody has target enemy in their key press. Everybody selects their own targets in this kind of farming. This is unlike my normal multi-boxing setup. Everybody selects their own targets, and that's really important because otherwise people would be assisting a main, and they would always be assisting somebody in the same direction as facing in a direction away from where they want to face. So really, do spread you guys out as little as possible. If your competitive farmer is this far away from the downhill huts, then you be that far away from the downhill huts. Maybe just edge him by a few pixels. That's all you really need. And let's see, an itch is right here. He's still doing well. Sometimes I like to face one of the Moonkins downhill toward the amphitheater, but right now I feel like I'm getting edged here on this guy's farm, so I'm facing him toward the more lucrative bridge. Okay, well, those are the important classes. Those are the important classes to know about as far as how to farm and how I farm, what I do on pressing 1. Is an idle? Is this guy actually doing anything? This guy does not. Yeah, I guess he's doing something. Okay. I just keep a laser eye on all of my guys, and then once I know everybody's good, we start Grey's Anatomy. I don't watch Grey's Anatomy.
I would be more than happy to skip Owen Hunt's.
If you think I'm the farmer here, you would be wrong. I set this all up for my wife to do, and she watches Grey's Anatomy. So there you go. Now, some lessons learned. First off, watch your bags. Don't let them fill up. Have a mount that has a vendor, the Grand Expedition Yak. Certainly buy that first. Make sure you have a Grand Expedition Yak. And sell everything. Watch for the mount to drop. For example, this guy has a mount right here that dropped. Reigns of the Tainted Blood Feaster. This guy has one. Watch for, I don't know, purple gloves to drop. The purple gloves have dropped several times here, so watch for T-Boos to drop. The T-Boos that drops here sells for 200 grand, and we've already gotten 1 T-Boos while we've been here. And again, just make sure your guys are, you know, going crazy and tapping. I still feel like an idol is not tapping. I think an idol is, you know what? I'm calling him broke. So I'm gonna Control-Alt-M him, and we are going to tap. Now, if you want all of this code, if you want to 8-box and 2x4, you can get it all for free at my website, at my Discord, 5-Minute Multiboxing Discord. There's an element of this I haven't explained. It's more of a housekeeping element, and that's how to set up your 2 groups in 5-Minute Multiboxing. And I will put that in the notes of this video and explain how you quickly set up your accounts to be 2 groups instead of 1 group of 8. The spoiler alert is it's not hard. It's not hard at all. You don't need anything special if you're already 5-Minute Multiboxing, and you're going to be fine. Okay, so an icon, you also look like you're not doing jack shit. So look at that, he's not even in combat. I'm gonna start him up too. If I solve this problem of the guys locking up after a period of time, I'll definitely let you know. But yeah, I do have to restart my guys. And there is a lot of, you know, camping with your eyes, figuring out what's going on. This is definitely not just watch Grey's Anatomy and ignore it. You have to constantly be checking on your progress and on the status of all your guys. And in the beginning, or especially if you're alone, you do have to watch their health, because when you have another druid team there, it actually adds a benefit of protecting everybody and nobody dies. But if you are, you know, alone, especially if you don't have an optimal composition, you could die. You could die. And that means you have to carefully craft your farming macros so that you keep people alive. People got to stay alive. Don't type while you're filling in the... Come on! Authenticator code! No! So notice I'm already tapping one while even while my guy's logging in. And the goal is to get to approximately 600,000 gold per account so that I can buy the Brutosaur mount, the Longboy, the auction house mount. That is the goal. And that's what we want to do. All right, so both those guys are now shooting again. It's time for the next episode of Grey's Anatomy. And I'm actually going to take a little break here because I am getting this working on the computer in the hot tub room. And so Monique can just sit and hit the one key in the hot tub room and farm there. All right, so now, yeah, we've taken it up a notch with the dead windows, the windows that weren't doing their jobs. We are now taking it up a notch and farming good. I make my shaman a resto shaman so he can throw chain heals around. And that's it. What have I left out? What have I left out? What have I left out? I mean, nothing. There's only one program that I use. It is HotKeyNet. Looks like this. Been around since 2009? 2009, 2010? 2008. 2008. So HotKeyNet's been around 12 years. And it's really easy to set up. All it does is turn one key press into the same key press on all the windows. So when I press 1, all the windows get a 1. And because I've written these clever macros in every window, and I have a looterang, I'm able to farm all this, and everybody gets to loot the bodies. Don't be afraid of competition. The principle of the hyperspawn obviates some of the losses you get from competition, especially when you're like me, you're not even level 120 yet. My druids aren't even level 120 yet. You can start doing this at level 100. That's what I forgot. I forgot to tell you guys how to do this, how to get here. So what you do is level alliance, get 4 alliance, hit level 110, then do the war campaign, and the first zone you choose in the war campaign should be Nazmir. All right? You choose Nazmir. You do the first quest in the Nazmir war campaign when you get here in Nazmir, where you come up through the cave and you ride the bat back to the camp. That's it. That's all you'll ever do. Then you fly over here to this point on the map and you settle down and you start farming. That's it. You can do it with as little as one guy, because there's always somebody here. You could do it with one guy. You could do it with 2 guys, 3 guys, 4 guys, 8 guys. Any more than 8 guys, I guess you could do it with more than 8 guys. You could do it with 16 guys. Okay? You would just be that other group stealing taps from the first group. So there's really no limit. The only thing you should never do is 5 people in the party. That you should not do unless you only have 5 people. If you only have five accounts, then you should come down here and be an ass, and you'll steal mobs from anybody. You'll steal any mob you tap from everybody else. So I won't like you, but it is a legitimate strategy. I wish you wouldn't do it though. So there you go. That is the long and short of... Is an itch not doing anything? An itch is not doing anything. Man, my Moonkins been consistently locking up. The long and short of 2x4 farming. There are many places in the world you can do this, and there are different styles you can use. You could actually do 2x4 farming with a melee style in certain places in the world. Your farm macro simply has to keep having everybody follow the leader because there are knockbacks involved or some such thing. So it's up to you to discover the hyperspawns. It's up to you to get clever and think out of the box and do different things. Certainly Horde do 2x4s, not just Alliance, and it's up to you to find the one that works for you. Good luck, suckers! Good luck farming, and I will see you on the other side.